गदाधर शिव जय श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन धाम की, वृंदावन मथुरा गोकुल द्वारका धाम की, द्वीप मायापुर धाम की, पुण्यक्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगा मई यमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की, वेद भक्त वृंद की, कलयुग पावन तारण हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू असेंबल्ड डिवोटीज, ऑल ग्लोरीज टू शिशि गुरु एंड शिशि गौरांग। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. Welcome again to this Friday satsang कार्यक्रम। So Bhagavad Gita, last time we took 2.54, right? So today we'll take 2.55 and जैसे आगे बढ़ते हैं देखेंगे। Just repeat after me. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकीम्। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंद गोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः, गोविंदाय नमो नमः, गोविंदाय नमो नमः। 2.55 कंटेंट ऑफ गीता समराइज्ड। गीता का सार। श्री भगवान उवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् ātmanyevātmanā तुṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate। श्री-bhagavān uvāca prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate। श्री-bhagavān uvāca prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate।
श्री-bhagavān uvāca
श्री-bhagavān uvāca
prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate।
श्री-bhagavān uvāca प्रजाहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् ātmanyevātmanā तुṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate। श्री-bhagavān uvāca प्रजाहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् ātmanyevātmanā तुṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate। श्री-bhagavān uvāca प्रजाहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनो-gatān ātmanyevātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate śrī-bhagavān uvāca prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate śrī-bhagavān uvāca prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate. Anyone, new families? śrī-bhagavān uvāca prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate. మీరు ఎవరైనా తెలుగు ఫ్యామిలీస్ yes you can.
श्री-bhagavān uvāca prajahāti yadā kāmān
prajahāti yadā kāmān
pārtha mano-gatān
sarvān pārtha mano-gatān
evātmanā
ātmany evātmanā tuṣṭaḥ sthita-prajñas tadocyate. Word to word meaning. श्री भगवान उवाच भगवान ने कहा प्रजाहाति त्यागता है यदा जब कामान इंद्रिय तृप्ति की इच्छाएं सर्वान सभी प्रकार की पार्थ हे पृथा पुत्र मनो-gatān मनोरथ का ātmany आत्मा की शुद्ध अवस्था में एव निश्चय ही ātmanā विशुद्ध मन से तुष्ट संतुष्ट प्रसन्न स्थित-प्रज्ञ अध्यात्म में स्थित तदा उस समय उच्चते कहा जाता है। अनुवाद तात्पर्य ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रपाद की जय। रिपीट आफ्टर मी। श्री भगवान ने कहा हे पार्थ जब मनुष्य मनोधर्म से उत्पन्न होने वाली इंद्रिय तृप्ति की समस्त कामनाओं का परित्याग कर देता है और जब इस तरह से विशुद्ध हुआ उसका मन आत्मा में संतोष प्राप्त करता है तो वह विशुद्ध दिव्य चेतना को प्राप्त स्थित-प्रज्ञ कहा जाता है। तात्पर्य पढ़िए।
The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendently situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoction. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that one who has to give up all kinds of sense desires manufactured by mental concoction. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped, but if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. Therefore, one who has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation for this devotional service will instantly help one onto the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme One.
हरि ओम तत्सतोमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणा ललितान् श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. So text number 55. So we completed last time text number 54. We'll just have a recap and then we'll have the discussion on this text today. So 54. What did we learn in 54? Or last class, what did we realize?
How does he speak? How does he speak? How does he walk?
One more question.
What speaks? What kind of language?
Language.
Sit and stay
Yeah.
or walking.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so what?
But you said what they speak? What
Yeah.
kind of language is used?
Yeah, what is the bhasha first?
Bhasha.
Then what does he speak? What does he converse? Okay, that is.
Sitting or staying.
Yeah, sitting and staying is third and fourth.
How does he walk?
Yeah. Third and fourth. Fourth is walk. Okay, move about or walk about. Yes. So this is what Arjuna raised the question, and we discussed also. What does that mean? So because when the literal meaning doesn't work out here, so that is where exactly we said we have to go. What is the non-literal meaning, which is the Gudha Rahasya? Sometimes like example. Sometimes we say this person's house is on the river. That doesn't mean the house is on the river, right? We all know. On the river, no houses can be built. When we say this person's house is on the river, we say, okay, it is near the bank of the river or somewhere where the nearby river flows. So that is what it means. So in that way, that question was framed by Arjuna on sthita-prajña person. So that's why he said, what does this person, which language does this person use? Okay, ka bhasha. And after knowing the bhasha, what does he converse? What does he speak? And how does he sit? And how does he walk or move about? So the literal meaning of it is, okay, we all know. But the non-literal meaning is, when you say ka bhasha, we understood the meaning of bhasha. What does bhasha mean? Commentary. Yes, it comes from the Sanskrit word called bhashya. Bhashya means commentary. And commentary, what happens? Commentary, everybody describes about something in detail. So when commentary is description, so what do we describe now? Example, when I have to say about Anna, how I have to describe about Anna. So I'll take some special characteristics of Anna and describe, right? Like he's from London and and that way. So if you have to describe about somebody, then we have to go back to his past and then say he is this person, he has this traits and this. So that is what is described when you describe about particular shloka. So what does that meaning of it confirm? That is what is the commentary. So when you describe what are the qualities of that particular person who is situated in that consciousness. Which consciousness? The vyavasayatmika buddhi consciousness. Because we completed the journey from bahushaka buddhi to vyavashaka buddhi. And the person should be situated in vyavasayatmika buddhi. So what is the general characteristics of that particular person. Then he used the second word, which is second word was the second line, that is sorry, this is coming. Sitadi kim prabhasheta. Prabhasheta means what does he speaks? Prabhasheta is what he speaks or converse. So what such kind of person converse? So what does he speak means what? In non-literal meaning, it means what?
Respond.
How does he respond? How does he react? So, what are the qualities that he presents? He fights or he gets angry or what, and all those things, right? So what does he respond? Then kim asita, how does he sit? And kim rajeta kim. So how does he sit? What is the non-literal meaning of it?
Keep senses under control.
Yeah. How does he keep his senses under control? How does he behave? How does he, keeping your senses under control in the sense, be sit down at one place quietly. So how does you control your senses? And rajeta kim. How do you act based on certain religious principles? How they have to be adopted in life, and how do you act? And we said also, so we'll get the answers, and we described also, 55 would speak about the general characteristics, that is kya bhasha. 56 and 57 will speak about what does he speaks, that is prabhasheta. Then 58 to 63 we said he will speak about kim asita. And 54, 64. Then from 64 to 71, we will know about how does he walk about, right? So how does he move about? Yeah. So now we have to, that was the non-literal meaning. So, and before that we all understood what is the meaning of samadhi, right? That shloka also partially we discussed. We discussed three things in the aspect, that is 53. What do you mean by samadhi? And what was the main gist of that particular shloka? 53. Achala, Nischala, and Samadhis, right? Sthita-prajñas. So what is the, once you have reached to that buddhi, that is vyavasayatmika buddhi, what happens? The person becomes shruti-vipratipanna. That is, he will become aware of what has been written in shrutis, He will not give that thing anything seriously. What is shruti-vipratipanna? We said, he'll means, shruti-vipratipanna means that do something which is, beyond the promises. Shruti is something Vedas, and V is opposite, and pratipanna is what are the allurements, the promises. So do beyond allurements. That is what vipratipanna. So if you are not attached to the allurements of the flowery language of the Vedas, and then second quality said was, the second thing is when you are yata thasyasti nischala. Nischala we said is the characteristics of the man. The man is always chanchala. And if you are able to conquer your mind, keeping that mind constant, nischala, that is the reason it was used ni, right? If it was means constantly a negation, but negation is not there for the mind because mind is always flickering. For that, to bring it under control, that is where this word nischala was used. So once you stopped giving importance to the allurements given in the shrutis, once your mind has become nischala, fixed, then samadha vachala buddhi. Then that buddhi will come into picture, which will give samadhi avastha and equate your mind with the soul. And that kind of person, and that is the process through which yoga will happen. That was the third definition. So that is the process through which the yoga will happen. So yoga, we understood, is not only the way to connect to Krishna, but also it is a process how to connect to Krishna. That is what we discussed, right? So today we'll start off with 55. Prajahāti yadā kāmān sarvān pārtha mano-gatān. ātmany evātmanā sthita-prajñas tadocyate. So what does, I'll read English because we read in Hindi. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desires of sense gratifications, which arises from the mental concoction, and where his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Okay. So śrī-bhagavān uvāca. Now, Bhagavan uvāca, you all know. What does that mean? Sri Krishna, right? Why? Because we don't have to explain again. When the first time Bhagavan Vacha was discussed, 2.2, we discussed in detail what does Bhagavan mean, right? We should not equate all the Devi Devatas with the Bhagavan. Indra, Chandra, Surya, all those are Devi Devatas, including Lakshmi Devi, Parvati Devi, Saraswati Devi, all these are Devis. And Devatas, Mahadev, Brahmadev, all they are Devatas. And Bhagavan is a person which has 6 special qualities. Okay, who has all the 6 qualities in full 100%, not even a slightest lower. And that person is called Bhagavan. That is the definition given by Parashar Muni. It was all. What are those 6 definitions? Knowledge. Okay, knowledge, you are coming first. Okay, because entire knowledge. One who knows the entire knowledge, all the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, everything has come out of the Lord's Vani. Okay. First is beauty. One who is always beautiful, 100% beautiful. No question, there is a tinge of not beautiness. Then Aishwarya. Lakshmi Sahasrata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. One who is the husband of thousands of Lakshmis, right? So Lakshmi, who is the goddess of fortune. Vairagya. One who is specialized in Vairagya. Okay. Vairagya, you understand, right? That is leaving. Vairagya is something which is, leaving. Like, once Krishna left Vrindavan, he did not come back. He went to Mathura, he did not come back to Vrindavan. Once he left Mathura to Dwarika, he did not go to Mathura. Like that, so he demonstrates the best thing of Vairagya.
Be with purpose.
Yeah.
Not like
Yes, of course. He comes back in the form of Jagannath in that. That's a different issue. But the question is, Vairagya. Now, if we have earned the money and if you have to leave it, how do we? Only for a purpose only. So that is where Vairagya has to open. That's what the entire Bhagavad Gita will teach us all that. So the fourth one, a entire bala, all the strength. Okay, all the strength which person has. He demonstrated that strength by lifting Govardhan for 7 days. We cannot lift even a single book in our hand. Then fifth is fame. Fame. Okay, fame is all kinds of famous things. Krishna does whatever, he gets a name. Including he does Makhan Chori, he gets Makhan Chor and we make his arati. If our son makes a chori, we will be calling him a thief. But Krishna is Navanita Chora, but still his fame is increasing. He left the battlefield, he is called Ranchod, still his fame is increasing. So, anything he does, his fame increases. And last, Jnana, Vairagya, beauty, Bal, Shri, Lakshmi and fame. All are there. These are the 6 qualities. If a person has 100%, that person is Bhagavan, and that is what Krishna demonstrated in his life when he was in this Bhauma Vrindavan, or on this Dhara. That is why Bhagavan Vacha. I just wanted, because some new people are there, that's why I repeated the definition. So we discussed enough. So now the moment Shastra say Bhagavan, you have to immediately understand it is either Krishna speaking, Rama speaking, Narsimha speaking, Vamana speaking. Only for them in Shastra Bhagavan is used. Rest all. Devi uvāca, Brahma uvāca, Rudra uvāca, in that way it is said. Why? They are Devi Devatas. This is a broad difference between a Bhagavan and a Devi Devata. All are not Bhagavan. Devi Devatas are the special powered person by the Bhagavan. And we are ordinary persons. So, Bhagavan uvāca. So he is speaking. He is speaking in response to Arjuna's question in 2.54, that how is the person, what are the characteristics? He is telling Ka Bhasha. He has taken up the first question, Ka Bhasha. So what is the characteristics or symptoms of this person? Please define. Krishna is now defining. So he's answering, sthita-prajñas ka bhasha, he's saying, so of course, if you go through that purport in the last shloka itself, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned some of the, symptoms of a person, like a diseased person. We'll come to know through his symptoms, like he's a diseased person, he's coughing, he's having fever. We'll come to know. And similarly, learned person or a foolish person. We'll not come to know difference between learned and foolish unless they speak out. So, Prabhupada has given some kind of description about what is a bhasha. So, the moment fool opens the mouth, he'll come to know. Similarly, how this sthita-prajña person, how does he address? So, Krishna is showing through this shloka, sthita-prajñas tadocyate. So, uchate is called. So, such a person is called sthita-prajña. As a one-to-one answer he is giving. So, what is he giving the answer? We'll have to go word by word or say line by line in the shloka. So, what is the first line? Prajahāti yadā kāmān. Yadā means when a person, we say, right? Once upon a time, when a person. So, yadā. Prajahāti. Prajahāti. Pra plus jahati. If you break that word, pra plus jahati. Jahati is visible, clearly visible. आज आसमान बड़ा जहाती है, बड़ा clear है, visible, clearly visible. And when pra is added to it, it is prakrushta rupena visibility. Prakrushta rupena, very clearly. विशेष रूप से जो बोलते हैं ना, specially. So pra is prakrushta rupena visible. Jahati, sorry, prakrushta, jahati means giving up, sorry, jahati is giving up. आज आसमान बड़ा प्रकृष्ट है, means clear है. और jahati means giving up. So very clearly one who gives up. Very clearly one who gives up. Prajahāti. Kāmān. Kāmān means desires. Right? Desires. And what kind of desires? Yeah, so what is it? Sarvān. All kinds of desires. All types of desires. Sarvān. Sarvān pārtha mano-gatān. All kinds of desires, mano-gatān, arising out of the mind, out of the mental concoction. मनोवृत्ति के द्वारा जो जो desires उत्पन्न हुई है, one who gives up that. O pārthan. O Partha is the name for? Partha is the name for Arjuna, but why did he get that name? Because of his mother, Pratha. Because of his mother, Pratha. Pratha Putra Partha. So why Pratha Putra he quoted in this shloka? He did not say Arjuna. Why did he say Partha? Because he wanted to remind when he is giving this answer that see, your mother, she did not have any material desires throughout her life. She faced so many problems. Husband died at a young age. Sons were poisoned. But still she displayed her characteristic, which was very crystal clear. You are son of that Pratha. So don't have such foolish desire that, if I kill my own persons, I will get sin and all those. So that's why he wanted to. So that is the reason he used the word Pratha, depicting how Kunti's characteristics coming into this thing. So all kinds of mano-gatān. ātmanyeva ātmana tuṣṭaḥ. That is the second line which comes. ātmanyeva ātmana tuṣṭaḥ. When we break ātmany eva ātmana tuṣṭaḥ. So ātmany means within the self. Within the self, when you say within the self, within me, the soul, within this body, embody, what is this? The soul. So ātmany refers to the soul, and that soul which is situated in that consciousness, the pure state of the soul, because soul is always pure, right? Soul is always pure, but the question is, due to the material attachment and due to the material gunas, there is a covering which comes over it, and that is the reason it is polluted. The consciousness of it, soul, gets polluted. The consciousness through which it is recognized gets polluted. So the soul refers to ātmany. Eva, certainly. Eva is also called as a bridge, Eva, this. and that when we say, right? This and that. So we use eva. This plus that, cha or eva in Sanskrit is used. Okay, certainly. Ātmana tuṣṭaḥ, ātmana. Now, ātmana again, see, ātmany is self, soul. Ātmana can also be soul, but ātmana, mana is used here. As a result, it is referring to the pure state of the mind. Okay. Ātmana, it can also be referred to as a soul, but here it is referring to the mind, and that is where sometimes, meaning by meaning, like ātmany, it is clearly the consciousness of the soul. Ātmana is also soul, but here it is referring to mind because it is being spoken about the mind now. Mana. Okay. So, ātmana, eva in between is used. Why was eva used in between? To bridge the gap between the soul and the mind by the buddhi, which is sthita-prajña person. And that is where the ātmany and ātmana refer to the pure consciousness of the mind as well as the soul. And the person who can bridge this equilibrium, he is in samadhi, the sthita-prajña person. So what is the desire of the Atma should be the desire of the mind. But mind desires many things. And Atma is just subsided. How it is subsided? When the buddhi is abducted. We'll come to know in third chapter and all those. The buddhi gets abducted. So abducted means in the prison of the mind. And then mind is dictating. So that is where we come into a different plane. So here that is where this ātmany and ātmana was used to bridge the distance. And to refer to the current topic of what we say, the equilibrium between the mind and the soul, the samadhi topic. And when he does this, then his tuṣṭaḥ is satisfied. Ātmany eva ātmanya, when he does into this position of samadhi, then he is satisfied. So the essential thing here is to understand that one finds satisfaction within. Ātmana tuṣṭaḥ. One finds the happiness inwards, not outwards. Outwards also, but we'll understand. Okay. But the real happiness, what is being spoken about here, he finds happiness within. Sthita-prajñas tadocyate. Such person is the sthita-prajña. This is actually. So Krishna is defining two symptoms, or we can say defining the two characteristics of a self-realized person here. So he is defining two characteristics of a self-realized person. One is that he rejects all kinds of desires or pleasures born out of the mind. Okay? Sarvān, pārtha, mano-gatān. So one is that he rejects all kinds of desires, pleasures born out of the mind. And then second, ātmany evātmanā. That is one who turns towards inside for the pleasure, turns towards inwards for the pleasures rather than outwards. So essentially the point here is one look inwards for all kinds of gains and happiness. Now all of us, are we seeking happiness or not? Tell me. All of you should say. You are seeking happiness or not? Right? How do you seek happiness now? How do you seek happiness? It's a very simple question. In the material things, you are seeking happiness. Yeah. Okay, tell you can. That's okay. That's not it's one of the answer. Why not?
नितिन प्रभु मुझे इशारा कर रहे हैं जो माता जी कह रही बस वही सही
जो माता जी खुश है उसी में मैं खुश हूँ. बहुत लोग ऐसा बहुत लोग बोलते हैं वैसा.
सबके सामने बोल के प्रभु जी.
नहीं, सबके सामने बोलने वाले भी लोग हैं प्रभु. डोंट वरी अबाउट इट. आपने एक नहीं बोला. चलो ठीक है. और कोई 50-50. आप लोग माता जी नए लोग, प्रभु लोग, डॉक्टर प्रभु. हैप्पीनेस, व्हाट इज द पैरामीटर ऑफ हैप्पीनेस? हाउ डू यू?
What we feel.
What we feel. What is that we? That is what is the question here. Who are we?
Atma.
So we are, who are we is, you're talking about this body or the person within you, that is the soul. Because that's the first lesson of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita gives the first lesson that you're not the body, you're the soul. So when we say we, We have to be very particular. We at a body level or at Atma level. So this is a technical thing, right? So yeah, so one who is able to connect with the Atma. Okay, so it's simply like, seeking happiness depends on the conception of life. Seeking happiness would depend on the conception of life. If you concept yourself with this body, then certainly you will look for happiness within this material world, because this material world has lot of attractive forms and lot of pleasures stored within it which should attract you. Okay, when you consider yourself as a body, that's a but natural consequence. That is, being in being situated in this matter, we'll look for bodily consciousness. So that is where exactly we'll find happiness within the Prakriti. Now, in contrast, if I understand that I am the Atma, okay, I am the spiritual being, I am the soul. So what will happen? I am the soul, and there is Paramatma, that is also soul, which is inside my body. It's not outside, right? Dehino asmin yatha dehe, all those we have read, right? So, which is within the body. When I am the soul and when I am within the body, then my happiness I will look within. For my happiness I will look within. What does that Atma require? What is the food for that Atma? To be happy, I will look for that. If I am in a bodily plane, then I'll certainly look, oh, मेरे को तो गर्मी बहुत हो रही है, AC चाहिए, ठंडी लग रही है, बंद कर दो. All those things, bodily level. But the moment you are on an Atma level, all these things will not matter to you. So whatever we may speak, so when we look for the happiness inside, then we are called spiritualist. And when we look for happiness outside, we are called materialist. Right? But there are persons who say we are spiritualist, but always they are looking for the material pleasures only, but they will still be called materialist only. If you are a spiritualist, wanting to go progress in spiritual life and want to stay connected always with the material things and be happy in the material realm, then you are materialistic only wearing a garb of a spiritualist. And alternatively, in-between situation can also exist. Some persons may consider themselves as pure materialist. मैं तो शरीर ही हूँ भाई, जो मेरे को शरीर से जब कुछ काम करना है, आत्मा के साथ तो मैं काम नहीं कर सकता, सब कुछ शरीर से मुझे काम करना है. I materialistic. But then he also thinks, but मैं आया क्यों यार इस धरती पर, क्या करने आया हूँ? The moment he thinks, who am I? What is the purpose of this life? Okay, but due to lack of the information, which is available in the Shastras, he concludes himself on the knowledge which he has and ends up being materialistic. Then such kind of person we call as a superficial nominal spiritualist. Such kind of person is the best guy to teach Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because we have to just kindle him. Because why he wants to know who is he. Bhagavad Gita will tell him he is the soul. If he is a soul, what is he doing here? Because he has been separated from the part and parcel of the Lord. So he is a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So why not get united with him? And that is where Bhagavad Gita gives a way, how we should get back, connect to our Almighty Supreme. So that's the reason we can call them as, superficial nominal spiritualist. So they are the best kind of guys. And actually you are all here just because you want to inquisitively know. Not that because you want to enjoy, oh, Prabhu ji ke yahan to kursi bhi nahi hai baithne ke liye, phir bhi aate hain. Not to enjoy sitting, but to listen to the katha, which is a food for the soul, to be happily inwards. So this is where, of course, is, okay, whatever be the case, both happiness, there are certain subtleties in this description, okay. There are certain, the subtleties are there in this description. The broad point here we have to understand is the person seeking happiness internally is a spiritualist, and the person who seeks happiness externally is a materialist. So Krishna is saying that a sthita-prajña person, characteristics is that he will seek eternally inwards. Sthita-prajña person is a person who will seek eternally inwards for happiness. Yes, Prabhu, you were.
It's like a controversial question. You're saying this nominal superficial
Yeah.
spirituals, I get that.
Yeah.
Isn't that better than not having anything?
Yeah, it is better. That's what I'm telling. They are the best things for us. That's why you are all here also. Today we are all in 100% spiritualist.
We are in first gear.
Yeah, that's what. So that is where exactly. Okay, you may be in, some may be in half gear also. I'm telling you, just trying to put the.
Out of neutral.
That is why I said, if you understand, then you are the most eligible candidate for the spiritual growth. Most eligible candidate for the spiritual growth.
I thought you were.
No.
I knew you were referring to us.
Yeah. Including me, Prabhu, including me. I'm also still on the sadhana. Okay, I'm not perfected.
Second gear.
Okay. Paral abhi gaadi Bhagavad Gita abhi bahut. Bhagavad Gita has changed so many gears and now it is changing one more gear. So you have to understand. So second chapter is full of gears only. And okay, so prajahāti yadā kāmān. Now we'll understand a little in detail. Prajahāti yadā kāmān, sarvān pārtha mano-gatān. So what is being asked to leave here? What is being asked to reject here? Prajahāti yadā kāmān, sarvān pārtha mano-gatān. What is being asked to leave here? Indriya trupti ki ichhaएं.
What you concocted? Concoction.
Mental concoction. So desires, right? What is being spoken of being rejected is desires and not the action. Action you have to anyway do. Karmanyevadikaraste, you don't forget that. Action you have to anyway perform. But what is being asked to reject is the desires, and desires arising out of mano-gatān. So, not the soul desires. They are asking you to leave the mind desires, not the soul desires. So mind is filled with what? Conditionings. What kind of conditionings mind will have? Yeah, but generally mind में क्या भरा होता है? 6 जो शत्रु बोलते हैं माइंड के, क्या होते हैं वो? काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद and मात्सर्य. Right? Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride and illusion. These are the 6 things situated in the mind. So these conditions make up the act in various ways. They make up the act in various ways, and that is the source of bondage. These 6 shatrus of the mind are actually the source of bondage. They are the source of illusion which creates within the mind, and we need to give up those mano-gatān. So we have to give up all this kāma, krodha, lobha, moha, mad and matsarya. Example, Ajamila. Right? We have been taking, everyone knows the story of Ajamila, right? So who was he? He was a Brahmana person, son of a Brahmana. And he was a very religious person, do his duties, honor the Vaishnavas, do his daily ritual, means, whatever he does for the service to the Lord and whatever, everything he used to do. But what happened one fine day? He was going in the forest. What did he see? He saw a Shudra. He saw a, Vaishya having a relationship with the Shudra. What happened? Okay, he just saw. देखना है ना, उसको देखना जुलूम हो गया, वैसे हो गया. The night he came, he could not sleep. Always that impression was being formed in his mind. And again he is remembering that impression. So as a result, he could not see. He was such a person who was already in, at his religious high, son of a Brahmana. The house is having always that atmosphere where he should not get, where he can control his desires and, mano-gatān, all those he could have done. But the impression was such high on that day that उसको देखना उसको जुलूम हो गया. और जुलूम ऐसा हो गया कि he left his Brahminical quality, he went and married that female. And he started doing what all nonsense things, started eating all rubbish and everything. So that became a reason for his fall down. Of course, we will understand in 2.62 going ahead how a person should keep his senses in control. So 2.62 will speak. We'll come to that. Prabhu had taken once on that class on that last Damodar. So it became a fall down for him. So how can we avoid such situations? So this is an example of Shastra. We have many things which come across our this thing. है ना, मन के अंदर सारे विचार कई ऐसे आते हैं, जरूरी नहीं है आप अजामिल का एग्जाम्पल लो, कई नीचे गिरने के एग्जाम्पल्स आते हैं. How do we come out of that? How do we, or even if that kind of thing, ajamil kind of thing situation we are put into, how do we have to? बोलते हम तो भाई इतने शुद्ध नहीं है, हम तो पापी है, तो क्या बह जाओगे? नहीं है ना, स्थिता-प्रज्ञ तो नहीं कहलाओगे फिर तो कभी भी नहीं. Right? So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, I'll give you, because even see, we also learn from Shastra. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that the moment, because this question was put to him once, he's a spiritual master of Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he said once, like, if anybody is, if there's, like, some beautiful person has come in front of you, your eyes will not stop, because going forward we'll read all this. So your eyes will anyway not close. Okay, if you have chances you want to close, you close. But then the beauty is there, right? So the beautiful person is there and you are looking at that beautiful person. Then immediately he says, remember that who is the most beautiful person? Krishna, right? Because we have read that. Kandarpa koti kamaniya vishesha shobham govindam adi purusham tamam bhajami. Kandarpa is Cupid. Thousands of cupids which does not have the beauty, that much of beauty Krishna has. Govindam adi purusham. So that beauty maximum like portion has come in this particular body. So he is beautiful. So immediately connect. So he is the bhokta of that beauty. Bhoktaram yagya tapsam sarvaloka maheshwaram. He is the maheshwar of that particular beauty, not me. Okay? How should you dovetail it to Krishna? So that you cannot, sometimes you cannot say, I'll close my eyes and I'll become this thing. Or we are not that renowned also that मैं अपने आंखें फोड़ लूंगा. Like, Prabhu was discussing once. हम अपनी आंखें तो नहीं फोड़ ले सकते. कुछ मुनियों ने अपनी आंखें भी फोड़ ली है. So that they don't see only and they don't fall down only. बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर, अपने तीर से उन्होंने अपने आंखों को ही फोड़ लिया, देखना ही ना पड़े. मैंने एक बार कृष्ण को देख लिया, मेरे आंखों में वही छवि बनी रहे. That impression, let it be in my mind. So such kind of persons are also there. So that is one of the best way. So you know how to connect it to the Supreme. So we have to understand that we can. So because we why this Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur? Because we have to understand that we are in this material world and we have to act. We have not been asked to leave the act. We have been asked to leave the desire, but not the act. So we have to act in this material world. Okay. So in acting in this material world, many of our desires have also to be fulfilled. There's a catch. We have to act in this material world, but leave the desires. But without fulfilling the desires, how do you act in this material world? Is it a catch or not? That is where this mano-gatān word was used. Ātmany was not used. So the desires, like devotees, you say devotees are devoted to the Lord. Okay. So they don't have desires? They have desires, right? Srila Prabhupada, he didn't have desire? He had desires. What kind of desires did he have? Yeah. Construct more and more temples, distribute more and more books. So books is coming now. This Bhagavad Gita marathon is coming. Gita Jayanti will come in December. So Gita Jayanti, we distribute a lot of Bhagavad Gitas. So those who want to contribute for Bhagavad Gita can definitely contact Prabhu. Will be sharing the message. So distribute. So that was one of his wish. Prabhupada, distribute Gita, construct as many as temples, keep preaching about Krishna to everyone. So all these were his desires, which has to be fulfilled in this material world only. But were they mano-gatān? Were they driven by the mind of Prabhupada or by the soul. By the soul of Prabhupada, right? And Atma desires. So these were actually not material desires. Prabhupada didn't wanted to earn millions and, construct house for him. No. He was a sannyasi. Ultimately, he goes as a sannyasi. He doesn't want any money, but all they were spiritual desires so that Krishna's name increases and the temples get constructed and people get more and more knowledge. So the self-realized souls does not reject anything material, but reject the desires arising out of those material things. Okay? It has to be only connected to the spiritual. A self-realized person doesn't reject the doesn't means he doesn't leave any things in this material world. Rather, he uses those material things and rejects the desire. He does the act in this material world, but he rejects the desires by dovetailing it to Krishna. Yeah. So, not ātmany-gatān, but, Atma desire, dovetailing the mind desires to the Atma desires, connecting it to Krishna and dovetailing it there. So, you think, हमारे पास कुछ भी इच्छा है, हम उसको dovetail कर सकते हैं कृष्णा के लिए? No. Vikarma, karma, all those will come later on. हम वही कर सकते हैं जो हम कर्म करना चाहते हैं, उसी को हम कृष्ण की ओर dovetail करके अकर्म कर सकते हैं. We cannot do vikarmas. We may not think of any bad things coming to our mind and say, oh, Krishna gave me in my mind, I am giving it to Krishna. No. Krishna never said. He said, be away from the bad things. Vikarma he never proved. So self-realized person does not reject anything material, but rejects the desires of these material things. So prajahāti, sarvān, kāmān rejects desires that promises material happiness, not the spiritual happiness. Now, normally if we give up our desires, then what will happen to our life? This is one of the argument made. You will come across this. People ask, क्या है भाई ऐसा, झोला पकड़ लिए, गले में माला पकड़ लिए, आपका लाइफ का क्या होने वाला है? Right? Day and night you are telling Hare Krishna, what is this? What will happen to your life? That is one of the valid questions people may ask, right? अगर आप आ रहे हो तो आपको भी कोई पूछेगा, क्या हर फ्राइडे सत्संग में चले आते हो? It can happen, right? So there is but that is also another thing, but there is an assumption in that sort of argument that when you say you give up desires, so what kind of happiness? So there is an assumption in that those desires are a way to happiness. Based on that assumption only you say that you enjoy. Those desires give you happiness. Based on that assumption only you say that kind of argument. But say for example, oh, I want to eat rasgulla. Okay, if I eat that, I'll be happy. Right? So fine. So we think that, the desire shows the way to happiness. But the problem with that assumption or with that reasoning is that it often leads us to the undesirable. It often leads us to the undesirable. रसगुल्ला खाना है, रसगुल्ला खा लिया, लेकिन बाद में शुगर हो गया क्योंकि बहुत खाया. रेगुलेटेड वे में खाओ ना. युक्त आहार निविहारस्य, भगवद गीता से आगे चल के बोलेगी भगवद गीता. हैव ऑप्टिमम. So it is a way to dishappiness. In fact, we think the assumption that it gives us happiness, but it will give us disentanglement. Means it will give us entanglement.
Should be the happiness for doctor.
Yeah. Doctors are. So we have to recognize that, such things give which the worldly desires would give us entanglement. Any worldly desire, if not yukta with Krishna, yukta asita matpara, yukta, he will speak so many things going ahead. So if it is not connected with Krishna, any desire will lead us to entanglement. We'll have to face the karma phala, either good or bad. So we have to do, so that will give us entanglement. So we have to understand that entanglement, and that is how we should think about getting out of that. How can you get out of that? When you connect or when you desire towards the higher fulfillment. And that higher fulfillment is, today Krishna is saying, go inwards and feel happiness at your soul level, not at the outside material level. Okay? So remember, Krishna has not introduced himself that I am the Supreme Lord till now. He'll introduce first in 63. Huh? So that is the reason he's directing first go inside, because inside he's also sitting as Paramatma. Okay? Atma, and then Paramatma is also sitting within your body. So that is why when we say Namaskar to you, we say Namaskar to the Paramatma within you. Okay? So Paramatma is also sitting within you. So go within, he says. So that is the reason Krishna is giving you this towards the Atma. So when we keep saying, so how does this desire sequence work? So what happens? The mind is filled with a lot of desires for outer pleasures. And when we are coming to this sthita-prajñas thing, understanding Bhagavad Gita, and when we keep on saying no, 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 no to particular desire, like, we spoke about, like Samadhi time, we spoke about Yoganand Prabhu, like, cricket. He's busy. Come, we'll go for food. He says, no, because I have to watch cricket. I have to do this. Anything you say, no, 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 no. So what happens? By that no, 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 the mind or naturally becomes silent on the external desires. क्या यार इसको बोलते ये बोलता है no. The mind automatically becomes silent on the external desires. But then it is always chanchala. It has to find happiness. And that is the stage where it looks for desires internally. अच्छा ठीक है मंदिर ही चले आते हैं इसके साथ. I'll feel happy. Okay. That is the stage when the mind diverts towards the inside. Okay. The vyavasayatmika buddhi, the person consciousness, that is where it looks inner reality. And then we start experiencing again the happiness. So just that the awareness that we are not the soul, we are not the body, we are the Atma, that itself will sometimes give you some pleasure, some fulfillment, some satisfaction. And going forward, when Krishna will say, you are part of me, you are part and parcel of me, you are unnecessary struggling in this material world, and all those, when he says in Bhagavad Gita, then you will say, oh, certainly, then I have to do is everything for Krishna's satisfaction. That is the time you will come to know. Because right now, in second chapter, he did not introduce himself. He is introducing slowly the concepts and dovetailing you towards him. Right now, he's speaking towards inner reality, there's that and everything. But ultimately, it is the same. So the test of a self-realized person is that he rejects the desires born out of the mind and satisfaction within the self. So these two characteristics we can also aspire for ourselves. In one sense, what is perfection is also an aspiration or motivation for that aspiration. So we can aspire. See, when there is a good batsman, what we try to do? We try to copy his style, right? When there is a good orator, we try to copy his skills. Oh, or if a person writes very nicely, his writing skills, he uses these exclamations and he uses so and so. And we also would try to increase our vocabulary and try to use that, right? Because we have seen a person who is successful in this particular field. So take that as an perfect. He is perfect in his field. So take that perfection and aspire for that. Okay, you may not reach 100% of that perfection, but you can always aspire. And Bhagavad Gita never stops you from aspirations. Aspire as a motivation factor for internal happiness. So what is a perfection or enlightenment for one person may be a aspiration for the other person, right? So in this way, it will shape up that other person also, because when he draws inspiration from that other person's and aspire, it will annihilate his growth also. It will shape up his growth also, right? Why do we say, there are different walls written on the, LinkedIn walls and this walls, they write some big quotes and all those. Why? People read that and follow, oh, nice, thumbs up, this, that, and oh, we should also do this. These are all great words. So some person who has perfected the life, and when he's saying look inwards, we should accept that. So the sthita-prajña person, who is that single pointed focused person, he's an ātmany man. He rejects the kāmān out of mano-gatān, and he directs his ātmana to the direction of the ātmany and then feel satisfied. Some persons are only ātmana. They are happy in the bodily pleasures, outward pleasures. Ātman, that is ātmany, towards Krishna they are not. Like for example, we had in that Agra Puja, for when Krishna was being proposed for Agra Puja by Yudhishthir. That time who revolted? Thana, Shishupal, who was given that 100, I will forgive your 100 mistakes. So Shishupal was against it. He wanted to, so he blasts Krishna in many ways and then he is killed there. So that is where, that's why because he did not accept Krishna as the Bhokta for Agra Puja. And that is where ātmany and ātmana, people do not bridge the gap and they abduct the intelligence and just listen to the mind and forgets about the soul. Because my intelligence is abducted, so the communication between the soul and the mind is lost. The mind has the capacity to abduct. Or that is the reason why for that intelligence, in the last shloka, achala was used. Intelligence should be fixed. Mind could be nischala, but intelligence should be fixed. Mind which is chanchala, we have to make it nischala, but intelligence is fixed, and when it is fixed, automatically the soul will speak to the mind. That's why Srila Prabhupada, in a very impressive way, concludes that, the purport is a powerful statement. He says, the highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself. This is the last paragraph. So, the highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Jivere Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Okay, even we want to have pizza, we want to have burger, we also want to have laddu. Okay, we can prepare it first, make it for Krishna, and then have it as his prasad. We don't go into petty materialism कि भाई आज वहां पे जाके लड्डू ले आए खा ले लो, आज लड्डू यहीं बनाए यहीं खाइए. He remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. Jivere Swarupoy Krishna Nityadas. He is always happy in the service mode rather than becoming the Malik mode. So that is what we should. So what we should do, what Arjuna has to do, he has to just he cannot remain idle. He has to fight, right? So he has to look towards inside. That is, as an Paramatma, which is giving him the guidance and which is giving him fulfillment, and then focus. And when he focuses and connects more and more, then he will realize higher happiness. And that is how he's focusing, and he'll keep on asking questions and we'll get more and more relishing Bhagavad Gita. Thus rejecting all the external pleasures of your family, this, that, everything, rejecting all those and seeking satisfaction within. इसलिए बोलते हैं ना कभी कभी मौन बैठ जाना चाहिए. मौन बैठ जाना मतलब not to speak but to stay away from the hustle bustle.
Prabhu, I have this question.
Yes, Prabhu.
Saying, I think in the previous one, the intelligence must be in achala and nischala state.
Intelligence must be in achala.
But see,
That is why.
See, that intelligence for me is okay. There's a certain purity to it.
Yes.
There's filters and stuff. So it is almost like what.
That-
So it is not in a state of flux.
Yes,
The
that
mind
is where.
So I don't understand how you can apply something that knows what is right, what is pure.
That is where
How it's not moving, right?
Yeah.
So why are we saying?
So how do we purify that intelligence? By reading Shastras.
Yeah.
See, intelligence is not fixed in the sense it is tilted, it is abducted by the mind right now.
So that word abducted is crucial. So you have to
Yes.
say release it. Right?
Yes, you have to release it.
So
So that is where, so releasing it is purifying it. Releasing it when I say purifying it. And purifying it is through when you get the right knowledge. And that is where you can stay fixed on it.
maybe I'm taking it very literally.
You can.
I'm saying abduction means arrest kar diya.
nahi, ho sakta.
So it has to be released.
Yes.
So that is a state.
Yes. And that will be possible if you read more and more Shastras. that abduction of, so now that purity of mind will come by chanting, that is the mantras. Okay, mantrayate iti mantra, that is mantras. Intelligence by reading shastras. False ego, about that one is also there. Before that soul, false ego comes in. That is the place also of fall down. False ego gets rectified when we serve the Vaishnavas. You become a das. Serve the Guru. And that is where the purity, when all these three are pure, automatic soul is automatically pure and you are already Krishna conscious. Samadhi. So Srila Prabhupada also quoted, see, Amrish Maharaj. You know Amrish Maharaj, he broke the fast by taking water. Durvasa Muni got angry. And then he created he removed one hair from his head and put it on the ground, and he created a Kritya, which is a demon. And then that demon wanted to kill Amrish Maharaj, and then Amrish Maharaj did nothing, just stood in front of that Kritya and just started praying, and then Sudarshan Chakra appeared, and we know that story, right? And then he had to rush across all the globe, and finally up to Vishnu, and then Vishnu said, Baba, you have dishonored my pure devotee, so better go and ask Kshamarpana from him. And that is why he comes to Amrish Maharaj and says Kshamarpana, and that is how the Sudarshan Chakra leaves. So even that person who is a Brahmagyani sometimes, doesn't accept the ultimate truth, and he is to be given with that test. A bhakta is already taken for granted. Okay, whatever happens, if Krishna wants me to get killed by this Kritya, then I'll get killed. And that is how he just put his hand and, just chanting about the Lord. And the Lord, Sudarshan Chakra, comes and saves him. So, Srila Prabhupada writes in that Srimad Bhagavatam, about a quote from Srimad Bhagavatam at the start of the purport. The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service of the Lord has to have all the good qualities of the great sages. So that is where this Amrish Maharaj thing I was quoting. He has to have all the qualities of those sages, okay? Where a person who is not so transcendentally situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taken refuge in his own mental concoctions. A person who is having all devotional, qualities of the sages, he is the person who is in Krishna consciousness, whereas not that person who is not having that good qualification and is always taking refuge in his mental concoctions. And that's where that shloka is coming from the 5th canto, 18th chapter. That shloka is not quoted there, but yasyasti bhaktir bhagavata kinchana gochara sarva gunais tatra samasate sura harara vaktasya kuto mahad guna mano rathonati dhyavato bahi. What that Bhagavatam says, I just quoted out of it for curiosity. I said I'll read for you. All the demigods and their exalted qualities. When I say demigods, that means Devi Devatas. All the Devi Devatas and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, renunciation, becomes manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. So everything gets manifested in a person who has already surrendered to the Supreme Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculation and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy, that is Maya. Maya means what? If you are not serving the Lord, then you are serving Maya. And if you are Maya in the sense what? Maya is this Prakriti. You will have to serve somebody. In Maya, what you will do? You will serve your boss, you will serve your wife, you will serve your children. Whatever you will do, you will do. Service is there. If you are not serving Krishna, then you are serving this Maya. Unless you connect that Maya also with Krishna, it will not be possible. That is how exactly first you get connected, then you connect your family to Krishna, and that is how the family can grow towards Krishna consciousness. So this is what that example of Amrish Maharaj came, where he was having all that qualities, and a Brahmagyani who was because what happens, people read Shastras, their mind should get purified, but ahankar develops, that false ego develops. That is the next stage of reading Shastras. So and immediately to cut that, we'll have to do Vaishnav Seva, that you are not the Malik, you are the Das. The moment that kind of feeling comes in, Sunil Prabhu is not here today. Actually, it was his topic today. He says, why should we call ourselves as the Das? Because the soul is very pure. Soul is pure, but your consciousness is devoid. And that consciousness has to be directed in the right way. That is where that soul is automatically pure in the end. Hare Krishna. So, one more if we take, it will take, क्या time होगा? हाँ 12:45 हो गया. क्या बोलते हो, एक और ले या नहीं ले, या फिर अगले? नहीं तो कोई प्रश्न पूछना है, प्रश्न पूछ लीजिए. सुनील प्रभु, हरि बोल, आ गए? हरे कृष्णा, आ गए हो प्रभु? अभी आपको याद किया यार. हेलो, व्हाट्सएप है बोले तो.
मैसेज कर रहे हैं.
हाँ, व्हाट्सएप कर रहे हैं शायद, या तो मिस कॉल आया है तो व्हाट्सएप से आया, तो इसको मतलब वहीं से कर रहे हैं ना. 1 मिनट अब. व्हाट इट कुड बी. निकल रहे हैं क्या आज वहां से? कल फ्लाइट है. क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं क्या? वहीं से भी उनका नाम याद किया था.
माता जी, आप
Live
बोल रहे हैं कि
We cannot record
बात
otherwise.
करनी. हाँ, तो आप लिख दो माता जी को, आपसे बात हो. आप कर लीजिए जाके बात बाहर. वो बोल रहे हैं कि आपको बोल रहे हैं बात करनी.
हरे कृष्णा. यस प्रभु, आपको याद किया और आपका फोन आया, मेरे को सरप्राइज हुआ प्रभु. हाँ, बोल दिया. लो. तो क्लास को हम यहाँ विराम देते हैं. किसी का कोई प्रश्न है तो पूछ लेते हैं, नहीं तो फिर हम